we're gonna hit the record button. You guys are in for a treat today. We're gonna do this quite a few times. So as we onboard talent, I love the origin story. I'd like to get to know the person behind the scenes, why they're here. What are some of the triggers or some of the pain points in their youth, that cause them to be so ambitious, cause them to be so competitive, cause them to wake up at 2:30 in the morning? But I want to start with something a little bit different today. You guys know Brian Cajun Cardboard. His content's been killing it. But you had a video yesterday, and I got to ask you, Brian, do you have anger management? And let me ask you why I ask that. Brian looked over these cards. He submitted them to PSA. He was doing a reveal. And if you guys haven't seen this video, go to Cajun Cardboard. It's the last one posted. And his neck was turning red. So talk to me about what happened there. You sent in three Jordan cards that you thought they were going to be 10s.
Yeah.
But as happens, they were 5s.
First of all, I doubt you watched the video. You probably got the cliff notes. Cage told you what the video said, or you asked somebody who watched the video what happened. I did not say I thought the cards were going to get 10. You're painting me in an amateur light.
It looked like you were going to throw the cards through the window.
The cards look like, first of all, my neck is red because I sit and I watch my kids play soccer like 6 days a week. So I'm turning colors, and that's what old people do. You'll figure it out when you get old like me. But I thought the cards, it was some starting lineup Jordans, right, from the late 80s, paper cards. I pulled the cards out of they used to come with the action figure next to it. You know what I'm talking about? Way before you. You have no idea what I'm talking about. You know how, if you buy an action figure.
I didn't play with action figures. I played with dolls. But people told me when you come to America, that's manly.
Okay.
Soft skills, hard skills. You got
starting lineups. They're actually coming back. Starting lineup, you got a Jordan action figure, and it was other players too, but a Jordan action figure. And then in the same container, you had a cellophane little thing of a card, and then a poster, a little mini poster that you could unfold and put in your room or whatever. So I bought a collection that had about 10 or 12 of those, and I cut it right down the middle. I sold the action figures. And then I extracted all the cards. I think I used the phrase, I lovingly extracted and caressed the cards out of the packaging, took care of them, put them, real quick wipe, because it's paper cards. You don't need to go nuts on paper cards or anything like that. And so put them in penny sleeves, put them in semi-rigid holders, card saver ones, send them to PSA. They were clean as hell, Andrew. I'm not kidding. I was shocked at how centered they were. The corners look good, the edges. Watch the video. They look great. I thought that probable 9s. Everybody hopes they have an outside chance at a 10. I realize the gem rate's like 5%, 10%, whatever. That's fine. I'll take a 1 in 10 chance. Probable 9, possible 8, right? If I got 8s back, it's not that big a deal. I was going to be fine with it. I sent these 16 months ago, man. I mean, a long time ago, when a starting lineup 8 would have been, hell yeah, that would have been worth about $12, right? Because that's what PSA was before the shutdown, or maybe it was 16 or something. So I was like, well, I can't lose here, man. I picked these up from a collection. I'm going to send them off. Even if I get 8s, I'm like quad, triple, 3X, 4X my money, whatever. 5s, man. I even got a 4 Magic Johnson. Yep. But I'm not angry about it. I'm positive. It's just the game we play. And you know what it's going to do? It's going to make for great content. I'm going to crack those cards out of there because I'm not going to sell a PSA 5 anything unless it's a mantle or a PMG. And then
you're going to sub to SGC.
No, I'm not, man. I'm going to send them back to PSA because it's going to make for a better second video. We're going to see what happens.
A lot of people heard you on our first episode, and you're raising Vikings. You're raising Athenians. You're a competitor. Where does that come from? Where does that 2:30 a.m. wake up, work 16 hours a day, really try to prove yourself? Where does that come from? I know you're an athlete. You've talked to me. You said you played basketball, but where did that start, man?
I don't consider myself a hard worker. It's not really work when you're doing the shit that you like to do. It's not like I'm, sitting down and doing engineering for 16 hours a day. I mean, I get to look at cards. I get to talk about cards. I get to listen to you guys talk about cards. I get to read about cards on Instagram. Those are not, that's not work, man. I mean, I consider myself pretty blessed. I can do a 16-hour day if that's the kind of stuff I'm doing.
Well, you do 16-hour days. So if you guys don't know, a little behind the scenes, Brian's been part of Luca Nation Network. We're working on the name Brian all the time. He's like, hey, let's but he's up at 4 a.m. every single day like the clock. So Were you always like that? Were you just from as a child? You were lazy and then you changed it. Because here's why I ask. Like, I think a lot about behavior. I think a lot about the influences that you have in your life. For me, I was a college athlete, but I always felt like I left a little bit on the table. I felt like I
Yeah.
gave 98%. Wasn't that
Yeah.
wasn't a hard worker, but it was just like to get to that next level, right? You need a little bit more. And so that's my question for you. Like now it looks like you're in full gear. If you
Yeah.
polled people in the hobby, they would say you're 36, 37 years old by the way you look, your physique, your energy.
Yeah.
So was there a change in your life? Like for me, what changed was I had an injury and I had
Yeah.
to, my first dream died and I had to find a second dream, a second path. What was it for
Yeah.
you?
I think it's because I pace myself. Man, I used to run from work. Like in high school and college. Hey, it's time to go lift. You're not gonna find me there. It's time to go train. You're not gonna find me there. I'll go play
Really?
pickup. I'll play pickup all day. You want to go play wiffle ball? That's great. You want to go play pickup ball on the concrete courts at the park? I'll play for hours and hours. Turn the lights on. Let's play. But man, you did not catch me lifting. You did not catch me working. You did not catch me training. I never took a private lesson in my life like kids do nowadays. I didn't do all that stuff. So, it just makes it easier when you love the process. And I didn't love the process of athletics and things like that. I've got some kids that are just like me. I've got some kids that can't wait to get in the lab and go grind and work, right? I was never that kid, man. I never was. I always ran from the work and just wanted to go have fun and play ball. And I left a lot on the table with my, very mediocre small college baseball and basketball career as well, just like you, right? So I do have regrets about that. I wish I was different, but that's the way God made me, man. And
What would
I
you
don't know what
wish you would
happened.
have done? What would you have wished you have done different? And it's funny because now you have two girls. One's in college. Both are in college, right?
Freshman in college, junior in high school, and then a bunch of other kids around them.
Freshman, college, junior high school, and you're going to see their games. Like, what advice do you tell them? What advice as your daughter was going into freshman year? She's
Yeah.
playing college soccer.
Yeah.
What did you say to her?
You're not there yet, but you'll see in parenting, there's two ways to parent people. You can say, do it the way I did it. I can tell you because I did it the right way and it works. And then you can say what we just talked about, which is, hey, her name's Maggie. I'm like, Maggie, I regret not putting in the work. I would kill to be a freshman in college with a blank canvas to make my college soccer career or whatever it can be, right? I would kill to have that chance again. I would put in so much more work, so much more effort, but you take stuff for granted when you're there. Plus, you had, by the time you're a freshman in college, Andrew, you've been playing, how many years in a row had you played soccer by the time your freshman year in college came around? 12 years in a row, right? By then you're like, shit, you might be burned out by then, man.
Right.
And I'm not. I want to go back. I want to take a time machine. But she's got, 12, 13 years under her belt. It's like, ugh.
It's like 12, 13, 15 years nonstop. And you do absolutely take it for granted because when it does stop, it's the thing that you dream and wish about the most. But when at first you go to college, you lose sight of, you're like, the soccer, the basketball will be there. Now it's kind of my chance. Like I'm out of the house. Maybe I'll stay up late. Maybe I'll play video games with my friends. And we all have our different vices. Some it's partying, some it's video games. But what were yours? What was Cajun like in college?
Oh, Nerd City, bro. Nerd City.
No, for real?
I never tasted alcohol till my freshman year in college. Never tasted it.
Okay, so freshman year, you're going in, you're nerdy, straight A's, athlete.
Dude, nervous around girls, nervous at parties, didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs, I did whatever made my parents proud, and kudos to them. They did a good job raising me. And, just like I said, you can learn from a parent by doing things the way they did it because there's a body of work and it's proof that it works, or you can learn by not doing and not making the same mistakes that they make. So there's lots of different ways to parent. Some of the sharpest people in the world that I respect the most had horrific upbringings. And sometimes diamonds, come out of that. And then sometimes, kids of really, really high quality class parents turn out really, really high quality class. And so you just don't know, man. God makes all different sorts of people, and everybody's got to kind of lay their own road there, man.
And you went into college, you knew you were going to be a lawyer. How did you find your professional career while in college?
I was going to be a banker just like my dad. My dad was a banker, right? Started as a teller, worked his way up, became like a commercial lender. We were straight middle class. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was a low-level banker. He worked his way up, right? And then he got to the point where he's making deals, right? He's on the golf course. He's making deals. He's getting tickets to ball games. He's whining and dining clients. And I'm like, well, I just want to go do what he's doing. I want to play golf. I want to do all those things. I'm just going to be a banker like him. So I got my business finance degree. And then funny story, this would be in my senior year of college. We were coming back from a basketball game. I can't remember what it was. And I got a ticket on the Pontchartrain Bridge, which is the bridge leading back from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, right? Going over the swamp, going over the Lake Pontchartrain. And I got a ticket and I was going so fast, the cop took my license and I had to take the GMAT. He took my license. And so I had to take the GMAT the next morning, and I didn't have a proof of ID. I was still a senior in college. I didn't have a credit card. I didn't have a fishing license or hunting license like everybody in Louisiana has, right? Because I don't do that. I didn't have any way to prove who I was. So I did not take the GMAT, which was, the entrance test to get your business degree, your what do you call it? Postgraduate degree, right?
Right. So you were speeding. You're speeding. The cop takes your license. You can't take your GMAT. Do you tell the GMAT instructor like, "Hey, I was going 100 on the 95."
I didn't go. I didn't go. I didn't have any way to identify who I was, and I don't know if there was just some little part of me that's like, maybe this is not your path. I didn't go, so I didn't take GMAT. And so later that year, one of my buddies is like, man, look, you should go to law school. I was like, I'm not going to law school. I hate reading. I can't stand reading. I like listening. I like seeing. I don't like reading. I never have. Don't tell my kids I said that. And although they know by now. And so he conned me into going to law school. He's like, man, look, some of these people are getting out. And this is going to tell you how old I am, Andrew. He's like, some of these graduates are getting out. They're making $40,000 day one. And I was like, what the hell? $40,000? He's like, yeah, and they're even giving them like a $2,000 signing bonus. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, I'm going to law school.
I could sell a Davis Mills RPA for that much. I'm not going to college.
I know.
I'll just play cards.
That's like a third of a Trey Lance RPA, or it was. Sorry, that's too soon to tell that joke. And so I was like, man, I'm going to chase the dollar. I'm going to go to law school. And so I decided to go to law school, man. The rest is history. I did very well and succeeded because it was a super competitive environment. And went to work at a big international law firm, many thousands of attorneys in Houston, but they're worldwide: Houston, Washington, D.C., Tokyo, London, all over the place. And I was a number. I was just a number, right? Nobody cared or knew who I was, but made a bunch of bucks. And it wasn't 40. It got a lot better over the 3 years I was in law school. And so figured out what I did not want to do. I did not want to be a trial attorney. I did not want to go stand up and argue and fight all day with other attorneys, and decided that was not for me. And so, check that off the list. I don't want to be a banker. It's too slow. I don't want to be a trial attorney. It's too stressful and too combative and too much conflict. And so we moved back from Houston. We had just had our second child. And so we moved back to Houston. The kids needed to see their grandparents, and we were getting homesick. My wife is really close with her family. I'm an only child. My wife is one of 10. And so that's a strange deal, but it works out great. And so we moved back, man. And Baton Rouge has been home ever since. And I'm glad I did. I felt like every year I was away in Houston with my wife and kids was a year that I wasn't figuring out what exactly I was going to do. And I knew I was going to come back here and grow roots. People are always like, how do I get out of Louisiana? I can't wait to get out of Louisiana. Man, I like it. I like Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I don't mind it.
Sometimes you have to leave home for a bit. Like I remember after college, I tore my knee. My career ended. I needed something different. And I moved to San Francisco. And a lot of people, like almost every day when you move, they're like, how do you like it? How do you like it? How do you like it? Yeah. And I didn't like it, but it was such an important point in my life because when you grow up with the same people, they still see you as that old person, right? Yep. And we all have this, at least I have this desire to grow, improve. And it's hard to grow and improve when people still kind of remember you as the old you, the mistake-ridden you. Mm-hmm. So sometimes getting out of your old story, even for a short period of time, and then coming back into it, you come back as a new you, right? And I think that's very important. That's an interesting dynamic, though. Like you have a pretty big family now, 7 kids, right?
Yeah, 7 kids. Mm-hmm.
You were the only child. Your wife had 9 other siblings. So it's like, were you really, you and your family was very close knit, and their family is just huge and loud and the
Opposite. It's
opposite?
weird. Yeah.
Talk to me.
So my parents and I moved from Louisville, Kentucky in 1983. We moved down here to Baton Rouge, and it was just us. And so my family, I had a little bit of extended family up there. We still weren't a huge family, but it became three. And
Right.
so it was just me, my mom, and my dad. That's it. That was my world. And
you had to sow
my
your roots
wife.
in that community, and the community had to become family.
Yeah. Look, Louisiana, man. When you come to this place, the people here are special. I don't know how else to say it. They embrace you like family from the jump. It is the most interesting place in the world. I've never met people like the people in this state. It is very unique. And right away I was like, all right, I can do this. And we grew roots here. Now my wife, the first day I went over to her house, bro, that was nuts. I mean, it's like some kind of thing out of a storybook. I mean, all the kids are yes sir, no sir, they're well behaved. The mom and dad. I tell her all the time, she lived a fantasy childhood. I was like, you lived a fantasy childhood. I was like, you don't know how lucky you are to have the family that you have around you, and that's what I want, right? And so that's why we kind of split the difference somewhere between 1 and 10 kids. We ended up with 7, right?
Why do you say that it's a fantasy child? Because it's like, did it feel like it was from like the olden days where like respect and I come from Ukraine where it's like you respect your elders. One of the big things with my grandpa, he went through the World War II, and it's today's kids, when the grandparents come in the house, the kids are like on the TV. They don't even get up and go greet them.
Nope.
In that day and age, like if you did that, that's like the ultimate disrespect to your family. If an elder came in and you didn't get up and greet them at the door.
Yeah. Andrew, I'm sure it's this way in Ukraine. Here in Louisiana, you like I didn't know this.
Here in America?
This is different than America. This is a very unique deal. Like when friends come over, everyone kisses each other. Men don't kiss each other, but like if a woman, like if my friend's mom comes over to our house or I go to their house, we hug. We kiss on the cheek. It's the weirdest thing ever. And for somebody who was scared to death of girls in the mid to late 80s, you can imagine I don't know who I'm supposed to kiss, who am I supposed to hug. I don't know how to hug girls. I was 9 years old. We didn't touch or hug anybody, especially women and like grown women and other girls our age. It was the weirdest thing ever. Everybody down here is kissing every single time. Like if I see like a mom of another girl on like my daughter's soccer team, every game it's a hug. Every single, when we see each other, every time it's a hug. It's very awkward because it's like I'm not really a hugger, but I'm like now I'm hugging like 40 girls a day. It's really odd. I know it sounds terrible, but that's just how close people are and how friendly they are. I mean, every meeting matters, and it's an interesting place, man. It is.
And
for sure.
Is the missus a high school sweetheart? When did you meet?
We met my junior year I went to Loyola University in New Orleans. So we met my junior year in New Orleans. Yeah. Well, we had known who we were because we're the same year, same class. But we really met very beginning of junior year in New Orleans. Yeah.
All right. Well, so Luca Nation, I want to do this with all the talent, but Brian's the first, and we'll get into cards. So my story collecting was when we moved here to America, we couldn't afford a ton, but they would clean houses, they would work at a dry cleaner, they'd save up a little money, we'd go like a flea market, we'd buy like Disney movies. It was like our big and I was collecting, I don't know why, Terrell Davis and Brett Favre. Well, that's like your collecting story. Not now when you're buying, $20,000 pop 4 Jordans.
Yeah.
What was your story back then? How did you get into it? Why did you start caring about cards at all?
Man, I dumpster diving. Fantasy basketball brought me into the card hobby. It's funny.
Okay. 2000, year 2000 is where I'm.
No, right, well, I collected I got the same stories as everybody. I'm not wasting all your time with that. I collected all the way, through that to the junk wax era, then stopped because of girls in high school and college, then collected for a little 3 or 4 year window until 2004, then stopped for a full decade. And then fantasy basketball brought me back because I drafted Giannis in a dynasty league. And for those of you who don't know fantasy sports, dynasty league, if you draft somebody, depending on the rules, you can keep that player forever. And so I've had Giannis since 2013 on my fantasy team, right? So I've had a decade of Giannis, which is glorious and fantastic. It's made me a lot of money. So
I drafted Giannis in a keeper league in 2013.
Yes. And so that's what got me to thinking, I'm watching him develop. I'm like, I wonder if basketball cards are still a thing. And so I was like, we didn't have eBay back, when I was junk wax there. So I was like, let me just jump on eBay and see. I don't know products or nothing. So I just started buying everything. I was dumpster diving though.
I bought eBay. I went on eBay. I found cards I liked, and I was like, I'm just buying eBay.
Well, I was like, well, I'm not going to buy a $20 card, but Giannis's Prism is like $9. I think I'll take it. And I just kept doing it. And I did it hundreds of times. And so I bought, I think it was Hoops, SP Authentic, Prestige. Prism was the expensive one, and it was like $8 to $12, right? And I'm like, God, it's a lot for a card, but okay, I'll do it. I'm not going to buy the silver. It's like $50. I'm not buying a silver Giannis for $50. That's crazy. And so I just kept clicking buy now, Andrew. I didn't even pay attention. I was just like, I'm going to build an army. And I did that, and I was like, all right, I'm going to sit on them. Of course, I'd only graded with BGS back in the early 2000s, so all my LeBron stuff was sitting in some closet in my room and in my house, and I was like, I'm going to just wait and grade them all BGS. And so I waited for about 4 years, and then when I realized, no, this is the real deal. This is literally like lightning in a bottle. This is the ultimate rags to riches. I graded all of it and then sold a great quantity of it. And it worked, right? So buy raw, grade, flip. Now, look, I picked Giannis. I did that. I'll take credit for that. But I can't take credit for just being early, right? That's just dumb luck. That's just getting in the hobby at the right time before the successive booms. And so timing is everything. It's hard to replicate that nowadays because there's not many opportunities like that because people don't want base Prism, at least not for now. But
so you think those days are in the past, right? Because we do look to history to help us predict the future in some capacity, right? Like, hey, these three things happened, and that was a collision, and it could happen again. Do you feel those Giannis rags to riches stories are done because of the overprinting, or why is it done?
I don't think it's necessarily done. I don't know if we can have that broad of a spectrum from low to high. I don't know if that exists where you can buy cards that are that plentiful and that, in that quantity. You got to remember what is the pop of a 2013 Prism compared to a 2021 or 2020 Prism? I mean, it's preposterous, the print run difference. We just did a video on that, right?
Yes,
so everybody knows the difference. So you can't replicate it exactly, but you could still buy raw, grade, and flip and make a hellacious amount of money. A, you just need a little more funds to start the process. B, you need to look at a little bit different type of card. But C, you still got to get the player right. I mean, you got to get the player right. You can't just throw darts like you could in 2018 and buy fill in the blanks, whatever, Lonzo Ball, and make thousands of dollars just because you put it in a slab.
But you didn't put it into Lonzo. You went Giannis. You went even safer. You're like, okay, I got this here with Giannis. I'm gonna go MJ.
No. You left out about 5 years. I went Giannis, De'Aaron Fox, Ben Simmons, Jaylen Brown, Donovan Mitchell, Doncic. All this is base Prism crap, right? All this is stuff that I'm not buying right now. So like those days are over. But I just rinse, repeat. Anthony Simons, Kevin Porter Jr.
What did you see in Ben Simmons?
Why?
What did you see in Ben Simmons?
Oh, what did I see in him? I coached against him in the EYBL in the Nike League. So his godfather was a friend of mine. So I knew all about Ben Simmons. Got to see him in high school. And no, the story is not over. I'll just leave it at that.
What's more important, talent or mindset?
Well, talent is a prerequisite because Marcus Smart's got a great mindset. Who gives a shit? Nobody wants his cards. There's a lot of guys in the NBA that would run through a wall for your coach and have this great work ethic, but nobody gives a damn because they want to collect the people that can do things that no other human beings walking on earth can do. That's why John Moran outsells Chris Paul. We just talked about this, on Instagram. People want to see freakish things. People want to see Vince Carter, Iverson, John Moran, Zion Williamson, freak things. Victor Wembanyama. Get used to
you're saying you're sitting here on the record on Lucas Tiger's Bronze podcast, September 21st, 2022. The story of Ben Simmons is still being written. He still has a chance.
He does.
You know my hatred for this man.
He's mercurial, and that's a euphemism, I think. There's another word, but I'm not
Mercurial is
telling
a
you.
brand of Nike cleats in the 2000s. Use a
Listen,
word I understand.
What's that? Yeah, Mercurial. That's right. The Ronaldos were Mercurials, weren't
Yes,
they?
they were the best vapors, Mercurial
Yeah,
vapors.
Mercurial.
So you
vapors,
did
yeah.
play. You're not just. It's not a facade that you're an athlete. You're actually played at a certain level.
I was
High
an
school,
athlete.
right?
I was an athlete. Yeah. Now it's like I just
Past
want to get to the card show without injuring something. I just want to get back to the hotel room after the card show in one piece, right?
So you're not playing on our 3-on-3 culture collision team. You're going to be in sweats in the what are those button up pants that the basketball guys, the rip off, the tear offs? You're going to be in
I can
those.
wear those if you need me to. I mean, if you need me for intimidation factor, yeah. I mean, I look the part, but I can't play it anymore. No. If there's a game of horse or a 3-point contest, I'll go represent Luca Nation. But I don't think I want to get out there and do that.
If somebody put you on the spot, right? Larry King Live, 20-minute segment. They say, what is your investing philosophy, Brian? What is your collecting philosophy of cards? What would you say?
I mean, it's not novel. It's buy low, sell high. It's look for things that other people. Well, it's two-faceted. Look for things that other people aren't looking for right now. The one thing that I have definitely learned from this hobby is you cannot ride the wave. You got to find the next wave, right? That's number one. And I'm not saying anything that everybody doesn't already know. The talent is, can you find the next wave? So that's the first thing is, find things that other people aren't looking for. And then the other thing is nostalgia and collectability in my opinion, drives long-term value. You want to buy the thing or the card that people don't see very often. That when people see it on Instagram, they're like, "What the hell is that? What did Goldberg just post? I've never seen that card in my life. Let me get on eBay, and see what's out there. How much is it? What is it?" I want those types of things because when I see Instagram pages from some of these amazing collectors out there, and I see cards I've never seen, that's what inspires me. That's what gets me thinking. That's what gets my juices flowing. Not when I see, a LeBron, 2003 Topps Chrome LeBron or 12 or 10. And again, I'm guilty of that because I played that game. But right now, the game has changed drastically. People are posting certified die cut stuff, right? Weird stuff. Don Russ elite stuff. The starting lineup stuff that I picked up. I think that's interesting, in high grade. Those are interesting things that are going to have meaning to people long term. Just looking for those weird outside the box play, not too far outside the box, but outside the box stuff,
And there's this subset of people. So there are people who there's three groups. There's the card collectors. There's card collectors who understand why digital's around, and then there's the NFT people. I'm curious, where do you sit on this spectrum of, okay, we had cards, but there was a time when cards weren't even that popular.
Yep.
Then people were trying to make digital like Top Shot and Panini Direct happen, and then there's the NFT enthusiasts like I'm an NFT guy or an NFT gal. Where do you sit on that spectrum?
I'm not on the spectrum. I'm on the sidelines, just observing. I don't know enough about NFTs to say, well, NFTs are not going to exist in 5 years. I'm not one of those get off my lawn guys, right? I'm not that old, right? I also am not a person who is just quick to jump in and embrace anything without observing it and processing information and asking a lot of questions about it. So for that reason, I haven't really dipped my toes in the water. I'm not going to disparage it. It's different than cards. What I don't condone, or I shouldn't say condone because it's not my place to condone or not condone, but what I don't really like and what I don't understand is when people try to equate them and say, well, it's just digital cards. Well, it's not. It's not. You can't touch it, and you can touch this. You can't say, well, it's just an intangible tangible. You can't do that, right? So
the
I'm
biggest
on the sidelines observing. I'm letting the young, smart, intelligent people try to educate people like me that are a little bit stubborn and a little bit, accustomed to doing things a certain way. And I'm okay if I miss the boat on that. I don't have a fear of missing out on that. Is basically where I'm at. I don't need to rush into it just to say, well, you didn't get this one past me. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. I just want to sit back and observe and see what kind of transpires and what unfolds over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years and see what happens with NFTs.
I want to bring up two of your videos here at the end, and we'll wrap. But something you said was with cards, you want to buy something that collectors eventually want. I think what's interesting with digital is we don't know who the collectors of those are yet, right?
I know.
We the young kids like myself, kids say that they're collectors, but you know the proof is in the pudding with that kind of stuff, right? You know the MJ collectors, you know the precious metal, you know the mantle collectors. They've rode the cycles, right, so to speak.
Yep.
Whereas with digital, people say they're collectors, but we'll see. It's a really great point. You did top 10 closers in the NBA of all time. You said I'm not going to like the list. Let's hash it out here.
What do you
obviously
I'm filming it at 1:30 today. I haven't done it yet, and you're going to spoil the whole thing here. Go ahead. I'll talk, but I'm not going to spoil it. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to get some free action here. No.
Obviously, number one is MJ. If that's the spoiler, I don't know how much.
If I'm not answering that question, then I'm not going to answer any following questions. You know that. You're going to kill my video. Is number one MJ?
Your video is going to go live before this interview goes live.
Oh, okay. Well, then I can answer that. Yeah.
This is a Saturday morning get to know Cajun and what he's about type of guy. It's that
okay. Simple. Yes, MJ is number one. Yeah.
I don't know what the spoiler is. I think you poll 100 people, 97 of them would say MJ, the other 3 would say Kobe.
Yeah.
But
here's go ahead.
Tell me why you thought I'd be surprised by your list.
I can't. That's the spoiler. Okay. Who's your guy? Who's your favorite guy? We talk about it all the time.
My guy, Kobe. But I know he wasn't the best closer. He was a volume shooter. His job was to score.
Then we're on the same page.
Missing is a point of scoring. Missing is a fun.
Then we're on the same
volume
page.
Shooter, most missed shots, but no one cares about missed shots. People care about championships.
Well, I care about efficiency. I care about putting the ball in the hands of the player that I think is most likely to either give me a bucket, make 2 free throws if they get fouled, or put the ball in the hands of somebody with a better opportunity to score.
Gotcha. So Shaq's number 2 makes sense. Really smart. This guy's the basketball guy.
And look,
make his foul.
And for that reason, Kobe did not make my top 10 list, and everybody's going to flame me. Everybody's going to flame me. I get it. But look, I call it like I see it, man. I ran some numbers. I looked at his clutch factor, his clutch percentages, the quantity of field goal attempts that he took in the last minute of a game were staggering in comparison to other phenomenal closers. And what that says to me is that he took shots that should not have been taken.
Well, but someone's got to take those shots.
Right, but it might be a wide open Derek Fisher.
Would you? So it makes sense. You probably have LeBron James, Danny Green. You probably put those two together.
Yeah. So, let me ask you this question: LeBron. I mean, who are the 2 names? The 2 most famous passes that Michael Jordan ever made?
Just to Paxton and Kerr. Nice try.
Yeah, 2 little short white guys who couldn't dribble to save their life, but if you gave them a ball in a gym, they're going to make 99 out of 100 wide open 3-pointers.
Danny Green would miss 99 out of 100 wide open 3-pointers. Danny Green is the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But fine, we won't go there, guys. Watch Brian's video. When is it going to air?
I'm going to film it today. I'm going to upload it to you, and then hopefully, what is today? Wednesday, the 21st. Hopefully, it'll go up tomorrow on the 22nd. That's the plan.
Another popular video was things you would change about the hobby, right? So that one's already posted. What if there's one thing as we're going into this Fanatics era, more mainstream, we see these record sales. What's one thing that if you were like kind of the commissioner of the hobby and you could wave like a magic wand, you'd love to see?
Print run, transparency. Like, people are bitching and whining and complaining, not whining, but people demand transparency from us. Tell the truth, right? Tell me about your losses and your wins. Tell me if you're paid by PWCC. Tell me if, Card Ladder pays you. Tell me if SGC pays. We tell people those things. We expect transparency from content creators. I don't think it's out of line to expect the same transparency from Panini/Fanatics. I want you to tell me exactly how many base Prism 2021s were printed. Every card, every parallel, every product, everything. And I think that would solve some of the other problems that were on the list and some of the other comments we got on Instagram when I posted those polls. No sticker autos, game worn only, no bullshit, Walmart, Target jerseys. What else? Too many parallels, too many products. Well, if they're disclosing the print runs, it's going to scare the hell out of people, which would mean they would consolidate. There'd be fewer products. Because they're telling people how many are out there, people are going to buy less and pay less. There'd be fewer products. There'd be fewer parallels. There'd be, no sticker autos. I would rather less autographed cards and all of them be on card and mean more, wouldn't you? And every single person in this hobby, they have to be listening to this, I would think. Maybe not this, but I'm not the only one saying this. You're not the only one saying this. The world agrees with a lot of what we're saying. I think it's unanimous.
Which is funny, though. Like, and this, I love bridging two worlds. If you go to Panini Direct, all of their print runs are actually listed there. So even
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what Panini Direct means. What is that?
So they're like the digital Prism cards that come out.
You're not going to bridge this world with me. I'm not going to be the person you bridge this world with.
So it's funny. Like, I'm not trying to be a sales rep for Panini. I'm just trying to show like some of the things they did. Yeah. In a different world. It's fascinating. I love the older generation. Don't even try to sell me.
No, I'm saying I'm with you. Like, that is the sales pitch for NFTs, and I get it, and it should be. We know how many there are. The issue with that is that's only half of the battle, right? We know the supply. The issue is
it's not necessarily like if just because they the supply go by. Your kids, do they collect cards?
My 8 and 9-year-old are little soccer players, and we've started ripping some little cheap soccer blasters. And then, of course, I'm ripping some Stadium Club Chrome Champions League soccer that I am going to pass down a select number of those cards to them as well. So they're digging that. I got them the 3-ring binder and the binder pages like I had when I was a kid. They keep a couple of nice ones in sleeves and top loaders, but mostly it's like binder page stuff. And they're loving it, man. They're learning and they're loving it. And they watch Premier League with me on Saturday. So we're a soccer family. So it's odd that I'm 99%. I'm talking about basketball because that's the way I grew up and that was my life. And it still drives a lot of my life. Fantasy basketball, collecting cards, talking basketball, creating content. Yeah. So
guys,
soccer and basketball.
We're doing something cool with like a kind of a mock draft. Be on the lookout for that in the next few weeks. It's going to be fun. 2 last questions. What's something about you that someone out there might not know? What's something about Brian Cajun Cardboard people don't know? You're an only child. Moved from Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky to Baton Rouge when you're a kid.
Man, I'm trying to think, Andrew. I got one for you.
Knows everything about?
I got one for you. I've got over here to my right. Well, I don't have them now, but I probably bought 250 Game of Thrones cards. I told you I was a nerd. 2012 Rittenhouse, original first year autographed Game of Thrones cards. How nerdy is that? And I am embracing my role as a hobby nerd. I love it. I love the Game of Thrones series. I like the cards. I like the play. And so I sent a bunch of them off to PSA, and who knows? We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll come back 5s.
So when Cage and I started this, we're obviously like, let's just do a podcast. We didn't know what happened. But shortly along the way, we wanted to make this more than just about our voices. We wanted to help empower other smart people to share their voice and build a network. What could Luca Nation do, the community and us, to make sure Brian Cajun Cardboard is successful?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. Hey, man, you're driving the ship. I'm just a passenger on this ship. I'm done driving my own ship. I'm a passenger on this ship. So I have a lot of confidence in you and Cage. If I didn't, I wouldn't be affiliated with you guys. You know that. I'm excited to see where this goes, man. I think there's a lot of potential. How many times have we talked on the phone like before 7 a.m. in the last 14 days? 14 times, probably. So the first thing I told you when we talked, I was like, you better be better to keep up. You better be ready to keep up because I go quick.
And bleep after. It was keep
yeah,
up.
That's right. Bleep. There were some bleeps in there that we won't share on the channel. But yeah, man, it's I've learned a ton from you. I think what they say when you're playing a golf scramble, I think when like your partner can kind of pick you up when you drop or something like that, they call it big brothering. No, brother-in-law. I forget what they call it. But where I lack, you guys provide and where you guys need help, I can help you out. And so I think it's going to be a great relationship moving forward. I really do. And that's why I'm here, man. 24/7 at your service. Happy to be here.
Our vision together is to create content that helps build a better hobby, right?
Yeah.
Different voices. People will never charge for our content. We've said that from day one, and hopefully empower other talented people like Cajun Cardboard. Do you have any questions for us before I let you go?
No, I need to get on with you and Cage and just argue, man. That was part of the deal. That was part of the contract we signed,
Yes.
is that I would get to argue with you a certain number of hours each week, and I have not got a chance to be in a battle royale or a cage match. Cage versus Cage in would be epic. He would struggle to talk about basketball, but I might struggle to talk about football and baseball. So it would probably be a pretty even battle.
If you want to get Cage in an argument, usually right after I shoot like 4 business ideas that are like step 14 is when he gets really worked up, because I have my issue in business. What I've learned is the sequencing of the things I want to do. Like I want to do everything and I almost want to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And Cage reminds me just to take one step at a time, really get it done, really give it the care and attention it deserves before moving on to step 2, 3, or 4, or 5.
Yeah, it's called order of operation. That's what we learned in business school. Yeah, you're right. And I've got a little bit of you in me, but I got a little bit of Cage too. So, and of course I'm older, so it takes time to figure that out. But you can't replace ambition, and you can't put ambition into somebody that doesn't have it. But you can teach somebody like you to slow down and do things one step at a time. So I'd much rather try to rein it in than try to instill it in somebody that just doesn't have it. So you're going to be all right.
I'm at an interesting age where I worked with my dad my whole life at different capacities. And so at first you're like, your dad's your hero. Then you're like, this guy fucking sucks. Right. And then you start to humanize him. Right. Yeah. You go. And what I've realized was that what you just said there, that the ambition side of things, that I've always wondered, where does ambition come from? I sort of think it comes from insecurity and having to prove something to somebody.
It might. Fear of failure was a humongous motivator in my childhood. The thought of me competing in a sporting event and not, disappointing my parents with the outcome, they didn't put that on me, but I put that on myself, right? That's all I had. I didn't have any brothers and sisters to compare myself to, right? So it was like, it's just me, and I've got to make them proud. I got to impress them. I need their attention, so I want to make sure I win. I 100% agree with that. Fear of failure.
How do you recreate that, though, right? Like, we came here, we didn't have much. So I was like, you are your father's legacy. I think they even say something like that in Faith. Like, you are your father's legacy. He brings you here. Your parents bring you here. They give you these opportunities. And your life, the way you live it, is how people are going to view your family. So those challenges are what put that ambition. I was like, I can't let my parents down. They gave me all that. But then the second generation, I'm curious for you, like, you've built this amazing life, esteemed lawyer, businessman, people very respected. And now you want your kids to also have that ambition, but you also want them to know you love them and believe in them, and their successes, they're not going to make you love them more or less. How do you toe that line?
I can't remember. I thought I heard this on your show, or maybe it was Gary Vee or somebody talking about like the cycles, like, impoverished kids that grow up in impoverished families are super ambitious and they want to get out and they want to achieve and they want to master. And when they do, and they're financially successful and financially independent and they achieve wealth for their family, their kids are content. And then their kids are a little bit less content, and then the whole cycle starts over again. So I don't know where I am in that cycle. I wouldn't consider myself esteemed in any way, but I think you just dangle the carrot, man. My kid's driving a beat up, used Honda Accord that's 10 years old, not a Mercedes G-Wagon. You can't give them everything. You can't buy love. You're better off earning respect and love. And that's where, the relationship between husband and wife is so important. If there is a 2-parent family, the way the husband and the wife play that good cop, bad cop, not really good cop, bad cop, but I've got a wife who wants to give them everything to make them happy, to make them smile, and to make them love her. And then I, on the other hand, I'm trying to raise a soldier. I want my son to be tougher than I was. I want my son to, be more independent than I was. I want them to achieve more than I did. I don't want to give them, I want to give them just enough, right? I remember a story. You ever hear the story about Pete Maravich? Pete Maravich had an older brother, right? This sounds like Cage, right? I'm sounding just like Cage right now. I'm about to tell you Pete Maravich's story, but it's apropos because I'm in Louisiana. So Press Maravich was Pete Maravich's dad. And when they were kids, I can't remember where they grew up. I think it was West Virginia, but it might have been Virginia. I don't know, somewhere over on the East Coast before he came down here to coach LSU and Pete came to play. Pete had an older brother. There you go.
One of my favorite sets, by the way.
Pete right there. It's Tops right there.
Yeah.
Top Stars, right?
NBA Top Stars, 96. I really like that set.
So Press Maravich, Pete's dad, would take his son out in the driveway and they would play ball and they'd play one-on-one. And Pete wanted to go out so bad, but Press told the mom, and they had a strained relationship, but he told the mom, let him look out the door, right, through the screen door, but do not ever let him out. Lock the door. And so he had to watch his dad and his brother go at it for years and years and years. And when they finally uncaged him, he was just this animal. Like he could not wait to be part of that, right? Sort of like me with the Luca Nation Network. I had to watch.
In today's day and age, Press would be in jail.
Press would probably be in jail. Press would probably be
abusing his kids.
He played mental games with Pete too. So and it ended up Pete had a pretty twisted, dark life in some ways, but that was kind of it. You kind of dangle the carrot, right? It's like you want the success, but you can't hand it to them, man. It's not gonna mean as much. They gotta earn it. And that's, again, look, there's no rule book here, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I just do my best.
Is there a book? Is there a quote? Is there a lesson that changed your life?
Nope. Just one day at a time, man.
Just one day.
That was a sitcom. One day at a time. The sitcom before you were born. Cage will know what I'm talking about. Yeah, one day at a time. It's a terrible sitcom. But that's it, man.
You stopped acting like Cage knowing every movie and show ever created is a good thing. Like he knows this. Oh, he probably could quote Jerry Springer and Maury. Like
yeah. He it is uncanny the number of quotes that he remembers. I'm impressed by it. But man, I don't know. I kind of wake up and do my best every single day, dude. It's just like you. I'm just doing the same thing. It's just you got a lot more tread on the tire than I do. You know.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed, guys. I'm impressed with Cajun Cardboard. We're lucky to have him on the team. Stay tuned. This guy is a content machine, and every single piece that he does with you guys in mind. What is a cool topic? What is something that the audience would love to hear and connect and collaborate on? I'm going to make a video. He answers every comment, Instagram, YouTube. Lucky to have you on the team. Thank you, Bri.
Appreciate it. Anytime.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.